it's noise that I don't really listen to, honestly, because I'm in season. I have other things that we need to worry about than what other people have to say. I have a scout, I have 11 other minds on my team and in my locker room that we got to make sure that we're on the same mindset. So I really can't give you the best answer on that because I really don't pay any attention to it.
Look around. Empty seats, silent echoes, championship banners swaying above rows of red chairs that no one paid to sit in. The WNBA Finals, the stage that was supposed to prove women's basketball had arrived, turned into a clearance sale that nobody wanted. It wasn't supposed to be like this. The league had promised sold-out arenas, national buzz, and a grand finale to a historic season. Instead, camera crews were forced to zoom in tight just to hide the emptiness. What should have been the league's crown jewel looked more like a scrimmage in an empty gym. And as the silence grew louder, one truth became impossible to deny. Without Caitlin Clark, there is no heartbeat. Because the second she and the Indiana Fever were gone, so were the crowds, the cameras, and the energy. What followed wasn't just a quiet finals. It was a crisis the league could no longer hide. From the first tip-off, the vibe felt off.
Well, I airballed a layup, so that kind of woke up all my little people in my mind to that we're in a game too. I got to wake up and be here for my team, but that doesn't matter on the offensive end. It's really the defense, and I think we really just buckled down on the defensive end against this great Phoenix team, and they're rocking and rolling, but we got to sustain it on the defensive end.
Aja Wilson glanced at the stands during warm-ups and muttered under her breath, "This is the finals?" Entire rows of seats were empty. Teams were throwing out desperate promotions, free tire changes, car wash vouchers, buy one get one tickets. Some arenas were selling final seats for $6. That's not a finals price, that's movie theater popcorn. These were supposed to be the league's elite, the self-proclaimed queens of women's basketball, now playing in near silence. Camera operators were told to avoid wide angles. The dribble of the ball echoed through empty space. Commentators stretched their voices trying to fill the void. What was once electric had turned lifeless overnight. The same fans who'd packed arenas all summer for Caitlin Clark and the Fever were nowhere to be found. Without them, the game felt hollow.
That's gonna be your one?
I have to put her one.
She hasn't played a minute.
I know she hasn't.
She hasn't played a minute.
I know she hasn't, but these teams have never sold out their season tickets ever in the history of the WNBA. We have never had 2 million people watch the WNBA draft in the history of the WNBA. They're watching it for her. And it's totally fair to not put her one.
Like a celebration missing its guest of honor. Wilson shook her head, not out of arrogance, but disbelief. She'd spent her career being told she was the face of the league. Now, for the first time, she realized the spotlight had already moved on. But the quiet stands were only the beginning. Behind closed doors, the league's panic was reaching a breaking point. Executives knew the numbers looked bad, they just didn't know how bad until the finals began. Calls from TV networks came pouring in. Viewership projections were plummeting. Sponsorship renewals were suddenly under review. Everyone was nervous. The NBA's biggest star was gone.
Caitlin Clark is driving the WNBA insane. It's to the point that she may need to step away from the WNBA, have a billionaire come in that has the money to prove a point, and say, Caitlin, I'll pay you $50 million just to see if the WNBA can make it without you.
And the league had no plan for what came next. Caitlin Clark's first playoff game against the Connecticut Sun had pulled 1.8 million viewers, more than every other playoff matchup combined that weekend. That wasn't a coincidence. That was the Clark effect. Now, with the Fever eliminated, the networks braced for collapse. Aja Wilson versus Dawana Bonner looked solid on paper, but casual fans didn't care. The storylines were gone. The tension evaporated. What was left was just basketball and empty seats. To fill them, the league rolled out Black Friday-style promotions before Game 1. Half-priced tickets, free concessions, even merchandise giveaways. But it wasn't enough. Sponsors started to worry.
Caitlin Clark, last thoughts.
Yeah.
Friend of mine wanted me to ask about, is Caitlin Clark going to go European?
That's a really fascinating thought. And I had not even considered it, so I'm letting it rattle through my brain for the first time. But I'll be honest, my knee-jerk reaction to it, Justin, is that's a brilliant move.
The same brands that jumped aboard during Clark's rookie explosion were suddenly pulling back. We invested in momentum, one marketing rep admitted, not silence. The WNBA had built its house on her energy, and now that she was gone, the whole structure started to shake. Inside the locker rooms, the mood turned bleak. For Wilson and Bonner, this was supposed to be their legacy moment, the payoff for years of sacrifice. Instead, it felt like punishment. After Game 1, Bonner spoke quietly into the microphone. You work your whole life for this. You want to feel the energy, the love, the fans, but look around. The clip went viral within hours. By Behind her, the camera caught the reflection of empty seats. Wilson, usually confident, looked broken. For years, she'd been celebrated as the league's standard bearer, but the harsh truth was unavoidable. The fans hadn't shown up for her.
How do you think Clark is handling this?
I think she's handling great. I think she talks a lot of and she gets a lot of back. So she deserves everything she gets because she gives it as good as she gets. She's just not built for the physicality of this league.
They'd shown up for Caitlin Clark. The ratings proved it. Finals viewership dropped nearly 50% from the semifinals featuring the Fever. Clark hadn't just brought attention, she was attention. Even players who downplayed her impact were starting to realize what they'd lost. Some whispered that the league had misplayed its biggest hand. Others quietly admitted it out loud. Without her, this doesn't feel like the WNBA anymore. And while the players struggled with the silence inside the arena, fans online were making plenty of noise. The internet turned the finals into a meme. Videos of the empty arenas spread across X and TikTok with captions like, "You chased away the star who filled every seat. Now enjoy the echo." Another read, $6? That's not a finals ticket, that's a parking fee. Fans who'd been mocked for supporting Clark weren't holding back.
Let's go create a complete different league and expose the hell out of the WNBA just to embarrass this Angel Reese girl that Jameel Hill just said she could go down as a Michael Jordan of WNBA.
Yeah.
And
One viral post showed a packed Fever playoff crowd beside an empty finals arena. You miss her yet? Even journalists piled on. Christine Brennan's tweet hit the sports world like a lightning bolt. One player gets injured and more than half the league's audience disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact? Comparisons to Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, and Michael Jordan filled the timeline. The message was clear. You don't push away the superstar who built your audience. The same veterans who once dismissed Clark's popularity were now begging for fans to show up. To many, it looked like karma in real time. And just when the backlash reached its peak, the commissioner herself made it worse. Before Game 2, WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert stepped up to the microphone for what was supposed to be routine damage control.
That's a brilliant move. This might sound rude, but I'm just going to use the words that I want to use here. She could milk the WNBA for all it's worth. She could get all of these sponsors, Nike, Hy-Vee, all of these domestic sponsors. And then at the end of those contracts, at the end of that 4 years, go to Europe and play in the European League.
Instead, it became a public unraveling. The first question hit hard. Commissioner, how do you explain record low attendance and declining engagement during the finals? Engelbert smiled tightly. It's football season, she said. Scheduling conflicts always make things tricky. The follow-up question came sharper. Isn't this really about how the league mishandled Caitlin Clark's rise? That's when she snapped. This isn't about one player, Engelbert said. We have incredible talent across the league. Within minutes, the clip exploded online. Fans clipped her quote and turned it into a meme. This isn't about one player, says league losing half its audience without her. Hashtags #Fire Engelbert and #Kathy must go trended for days. Even ESPN commentators couldn't defend her. One analyst said bluntly, "You can't lose half your audience overnight," and call it business as usual. The meltdown didn't just expose leadership's denial, it deepened the divide between the old WNBA and the new one Clark had accidentally created. Inside the locker rooms, players were split in two worlds. Veterans like Wilson and Bonner represented the league's past, loyal, respected, but insulated. The younger generation saw something different. They'd watched Caitlin Clark's arrival change everything overnight. Sold-out crowds, higher pay, endorsement deals, national headlines. For the first time, rookies were being recognized like superstars. Yet, instead of embracing it, some veterans treated it like a threat. One anonymous player told reporters, "Caitlin helped everyone. We all got paid more. We all got attention. Why are people mad about that?" That line hit harder than any dunk. Behind the scenes, Wilson and Bonner reportedly vented to league executives, blaming marketing for the finals flop. But insiders whispered that the real issue wasn't promotion, it was pride. Leadership and veterans had resisted giving Clark credit, and now that denial was catching up to them. Fans could see it. They didn't want politics or hierarchy, they wanted heart. They wanted the joy Clark brought to every game, the authenticity that made even casual viewers care. But by the time the league realized it, the damage was already permanent. By Game 2, the finals felt like a funeral. Even with free tickets handed out at local stores, the stands still looked deserted. Camera operators were ordered to keep every shot tight. No wide angles, no overhead views, but fans in attendance filmed everything. Videos of the empty upper decks flooded social media with captions like, Finals sponsored by crickets. ESPN made things worse by posting an old Caitlin Clark highlight the same night, instead of finals coverage. The timing was brutal, and fans noticed. Sponsors began to panic. Some quietly reached out to the league, questioning visibility commitments. Translation: the ratings weren't worth the money. Networks trimmed WNBA coverage in real time, swapping pre-game segments for NFL talk. Even players felt defeated. One source close to Wilson said she broke down privately after Game 2. "We did everything right," she said, "but it still feels like nobody cares." By now, the narrative had completely flipped. What was supposed to be a celebration of growth had become proof that the league was built on denial. And what came next wasn't spin. It was reckoning. When the confetti finally fell, there was no roar, just scattered applause echoing off concrete walls. The WNBA had gotten exactly what it asked for: a finals without Caitlin Clark. And it was everything they feared it would be: quiet, awkward, forgotten. The league had spent months claiming it was bigger than one player. But now, the numbers made that lie impossible to defend. Ratings were at their lowest in a decade. Sponsors were uneasy. Fans were gone. This wasn't a marketing issue. It was a credibility crisis. People didn't stop caring about women's basketball. They stopped believing in the people running it. They saw veterans mock the rookie who filled their arenas. They saw executives spin failure into buzzwords. And they realized something the league hadn't. Fans don't follow politics. They follow passion. Social media summed it up in one phrase: Kathy must go. It started as a meme and became a movement, a demand for accountability, for honesty, for a league that actually listened. Because Caitlin Clark didn't just lift the WNBA, she gave it life. She reminded people why they cared, why the sport mattered. And instead of embracing that, the league tried to downplay it. Now, it was paying the price. As the lights dimmed and players walked off the court, the silence wasn't just the sound of an empty arena. It was the echo of a missed opportunity, one that might not come again. Until the league learns to celebrate the player who made millions again, every championship will feel the same: quiet, hollow, and forgotten before the confetti even hits the floor. Because without her, the WNBA isn't growing, it's echoing.